The way that I like to view expression is it's actually really what it means and relates to you. Some of us, our form of expression is writing. Some of us, our form of expression is literally using our voice, speaking. Sometimes it's art, whatever that looks like for you. It's so different. But when I think about these blocks in our expression, it comes down to when you go beyond the surface and into the depths of who you truly are, you will rise. You know those posts that you see all the time where someone says, I'm back, or I need a break from social media. I'm taking a step back for my mental health, or whatever the reasonings are. Every time I see one, two things cross my mind. First, compassion, because I get it. I get that need to step away or step back. And the second thing that I think about is, why do we feel the need to announce our disappearance or our return back to an app? And I'm not against it. And this is not what this episode is about. I'm not against this. I have written these posts myself. But the truth is, every time I see it, I'm reminded that there is something deeper going on underneath the surface. I saw it very recently the other day, and that's why it got me thinking about this. And for me, over the last few years, I have found myself in cycles of feeling stuck or feeling like I'm taking a step back, or even saying, I'm going to show up differently now. And I realized it wasn't necessarily because life was too busy or because I didn't have any ideas, or even because I didn't want to create as a business owner and as someone who, I guess, in a way is a content creator. It's not that I didn't have anything to say. It was more so resistance. And it's not necessarily resistance to the work, but to my own evolution. And I'll hopefully explain this a little bit more. I then started to kind of peel back, or pull back and stay quiet. I noticed that. And I would start mindlessly scrolling into that pit of doom or really bad cycle. And I would just stew in envy to witness others' evolution. And ultimately, what was happening is me becoming more and more disconnected from myself, from my own voice, and in a way creating this own blockage to even say or express anything whatsoever. And so when I think about blocks, especially in our expression, and when I talk about expression, the way that I like to view expression is it's actually really what it means and relates to you. Some of us, our form of expression is writing. Some of us, our form of expression is literally using our voice, speaking. Sometimes it's art, whatever that looks like for you. It's so different. But when I think about these blocks in our expression, it comes down to disconnection. And it comes to disconnection from ourselves, when we're really out of touch with our own needs, our own intuition, that inner voice where our expression comes from. We are disconnected from our mission and our purpose, and forgetting why we're doing anything. Why are we, creating what we want to create? Why are we doing the things that we want to do? And we start to see this shift of creating or expressing ourselves out of pressure instead of this place of joy to express ourselves, to feel like it's part of our mission to be expressed. And so it ends up feeling like this obligation or pressure. And then the other way of disconnection that I see is this disconnection from source. And that is going to look differently to every single one of us. Your connection to source could be simply that: source, universe, God, whatever that looks like for you. But that disconnection, it could even be spirit, love just that energy. These disconnections from these different, they're all different aspects of ourselves, but that's where we start to experience the blocks and the resistance, and we start to feel like we're stepping further and further back because it's so like nothing comes out because of this disconnection. In the disconnection, our expression feels hard. It feels forced. That's when we hesitate, we second guess, we might share something and then delete it, or we look to what everybody else is sharing and saying and doing, and we start to really silence ourselves in ways. And we start to censor our truth and censor our own expression and what feels most true and aligned for us to be saying in that given moment. We censor it, or we burn out because we're forcing this output because of obligation, and we start to feel drained. And that's why we see more and more burnout happening. But when we're connected, when there is none of that disconnected, and we're so connected to ourselves, to source, to our mission, to our purpose, none of that happens. We move, and we move fast. We don't question what we want to say. We just know and we trust what we're being guided to say in that moment or to create in that moment. We feel that alignment in our bones, and it shows in the opportunities that begin to come our way. And I can almost guarantee that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you felt probably both of these. You know what it's like to be so deeply connected. You move so fast and so quick. There is no questioning. There is no space for fear. There's simply love. And then the disconnection is where we start to feel that fear. We start to hesitate. And so what do we do? What do we do when we feel this block? We feel like our throat chakra is closed and nothing's coming out. We feel silence, or we feel drained. We feel exhausted. We feel anything but excited to create, to be in our expression, to say anything, to do the things that we once deeply so loved. For me, that connection, building that connection back up to myself, to my mission and purpose, to source, has come down to these few practices. These few practices have helped me feel more connected to myself in the last 2 to 3 years than I think I've ever felt. And in return, I have noticed that activation in my self-expression, trusting myself more. And although it is not perfect, I have become more excited about things that I want to say, things that are coming through that want to be expressed, not for myself necessarily, but maybe for more so the collective. And so my 3 things are journaling. Number 1, journaling. And journaling without any sort of expectation, not to create content, not to journal to then hope that this is going to turn into something, but to simply just meet myself on the page, to feel emotions, to process, to share what I'm grateful for, to share what I'm desiring, what I am celebrating. Journaling is one of my favorite things that instantly brings me into a space of feeling very connected to myself. And my second thing is movement. It's my ritual and practice, going to the gym, moving my body, strength training, going for walks with my husband, simply to feel and be in my body, has allowed me to really deeply connect and to drown out noise. Because again, when you start to drown out noise and you get into that flow, that's where things start to come through, more clarity. And then the last thing is asking myself better questions. And I know that probably sounds a little strange, like, how is that something that we can do? But asking myself better questions, what I mean by that is, instead of asking myself, what should I share or what should I create? I have now asked myself, what feels most alive for me today? Something always comes through, because then what happens is you shift from feeling this sense of obligation to what feels so true for me right now in this moment. So asking yourself better questions, because ultimately, and my invitation is that you find your three things that help you feel more connected to yourself and to commit to them, to have this devotion to these things that make you feel connected to yourself, and to prioritize them just like you would prioritize anything else, your job, your family, your children, making it a priority. Because expression really isn't, has nothing to do with, it shouldn't be. I feel like in the day and age of social media, and I feel like I'm in a generation where I know what it's like to have not had social media and to now be in the world of social media. And what's happened is it's all become very much focused on performance, and what needs to happen is reminding ourselves that it's more so about alignment. Alignment is what creates ease. It's what dissolves the disconnection, the resistance when you are in alignment. But when you're feeling like you're obligated, coming from a place of should, that's where the feeling of exhaustion comes, because you're just trying to like maintain something, maintain an image, maintain something. But when you're aligned, expression just flows. It's not something that you ever even have to overthink, because it's not being manufactured. It's a process of you just allowing and you being a vessel for whatever it is that your higher mission is. And that's where, our words really begin to carry weight, and when they really cut through the noise, because they come from a place of truth, and it's not from a place of striving to be something, from obligation, from pressure, from a place of should. None of that exists. So here's my question to you in terms of asking better questions. Where in your life right now are you feeling blocked in your expression? And underneath that, what truth is waiting to be voiced? Allowing yourself to really just get honest of, where are you feeling blocked? And try to go beyond the surface. Really try and get there. See what's really blocking. What's creating this disconnection for you? And really just take that question with you. Sit with it, journal on it, because being in your authentic, most aligned expression matters. And it's not just for you, it's for everyone who's really waiting to receive what you have on the other end of what you have to say and share and create. It is medicine being in our fullest expression. Being fully self-expressed is medicine for you and for everyone who gets that opportunity to receive it. This conversation around expression feels aligned, and you are looking for the place to be fully expressed that is in alignment, that is a very sacred and intentional space. I'd love to invite you to explore Collective Voices. It's a 12-week co-author experience to write, publish, and share your story. And what happens is, together alongside other authors, you get to write a chapter and we publish it as a collective. And it's such a magical experience for you being in it, for you being able to have the space to share and to write, to share a piece of your story. And what I know is this, that when you put your story on the page, something shifts inside of you. And I say that so firmly. And I say that thinking of specifically last episode with Nicole, seeing that shift in her as she wrote her story and as she wrote her chapter. And the thing is when you get to do that alongside other women who are on this journey with you, who are courageously, bravely telling their story, the shift then becomes exponential. And that really is the essence of collective voices. So this really just isn't a space for you to just write your story. It's really about discovering what happens when your words begin to take a life of its own. So if you feel that pull, the link will be in the description of this episode. And I thank you so much for being here with me today in this space. And my hope is that you are reminded to anchor into the things that make you feel the most alive and connected to yourself. And if you received value, please share this episode, share it out, share it with someone that you know who needs this. Hit the subscribe or follow button so that you can continue to stay in this community where we continue to go beyond the surface and break cycles in our lineages. So until next time, keep writing your way home.